It's going to be a bumpy ride.
You've got a real attitude problem, McFly. You're a slacker.
Maybe you need a timeout.
Welcome to the Luke and Rory podcast. Here are two guys, knuckleheads if you may, who jump in front of a camera and do a Facebook Live show.
You know, it's exciting.
They've decided to take that Facebook Live show and put it into a podcast.
Oh, good for you.
Why? Because can you really get enough of Luke and Rory?
That's a good one.
Meet Luke Weaver, who's known for his dead sexy hair.
You're an awful man. You are truly a disappointment to its owner.
Meet Rory Pitts, who's never found an apple cup he can't be disappointed about.
I'm telling you, that man does not look stable.
Two guys who went to the same high school, love the same music, love sports, love movies, love their families.
Look at these clowns. Hand-picked monkeys.
All right, looks like the boys are caffeinated and ready to go.
Come on, get some coffee. You want some coffee?
That's enough nonsense. Now let's join the show.
Sound good?
I can't believe you just told me that story.
I couldn't share that one on the show, bud.
I hope the audio wasn't going.
I mean, I would gladly tell anybody that story.
Yeah.
Because it's just funny. It's just a kid's story.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need to be on the show. Good
Mr.
morning.
Weaver. Mr. Weaver, CPS.
Yeah. There's Chimo in there. All right, now. Good morning, Ed Keeley. Good morning, Lance. Aloha, says Lance.
Yes.
Speaking to us in a different language. I appreciate that.
Ah.
I, too, am versed in Pidgin Hawaiian. So, how's everyone doing?
Oh, boy.
How are you doing? Dude, you're alive.
Dude, I'm alive, yeah.
This guy, bro, you got like some Wolverine type.
So,
because you were dead 2 days ago.
Luke Weaver, Rory Pitts, Luke and Rory Show, episode number.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So
appreciate you being here. Thank you,
dude. Starting. So I felt a little
give us like 5 minutes, Andrew. We'll rip off the Band-Aid.
Yes.
Like, let us ease into this. This is like counseling. Like
yes.
You don't ask exactly like, how do you feel about your father right off the bat? You find a little bit. You get to know somebody a little bit first.
You got to remember. He's from the Boston area.
Yeah.
So
say hello to your mother. For
just rip up the Band-Aid, won't you?
Yeah. All right. Anyway,
I almost want to get Drew on the show.
I know.
If there was a way we could get him on here. Actually, there is a way. But
I knew his time was coming yesterday.
Oh yeah.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
All right, carry on.
All right. So had a little bit of a something not feeling quite right.
COVID-23
Thursday afternoon, but it was one of those things where it's like everybody else.
Yeah.
Bella's been sick. Christy was starting to get sick. And I'm thinking, no, ain't going to happen. Not going to let this happen.
Yep, keep going.
Oh, boy, got to wine and dine. And so come Friday, I'm like, I got the creepy crud.
Yeah.
But then Saturday, I actually felt decent. And I went for a nice long walk. And I think that's what triggered Sunday. Because Sunday, I felt like, as you described many, many times, a bag of smashed ass. I felt bad.
Well, you sounded it too.
And the thing is Bella and Ryan still wanted to go to church. Christy's like, well, I'll drive him to church. I said, Christy, you sound worse than me. And I sound horrible.
Just the Grim Reaper pulling into church.
Oh, I felt like it, dude. I should have.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll show you really quick. I took this picture. Let's see if I can find this here. I took this picture in the church parking lot. Yeah, look at that.
You got leprosy, dude.
Look at that.
Jeez Louise.
So that's Sunday morning in the church parking lot.
His great-great-grandfather during the Black Plague. Golly.
Oh, man. So, yeah, that was not fun. And so it's just been a roller coaster. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I actually felt really good Wednesday. Thursday, this morning, I feel good. So I'm glad to be here. Glad I'm not dead.
Both our houses got it. Mine got it right before yours, like right before Christmas, and you guys.
See, that sucks. I'd rather get it the way we got it than before Christmas.
We were okay on Christmas. We'd kind of gotten over it at that point, but it was no correction. You're right. It was right after, because it was like the day after everyone started feeling horrible, in that week of like before New Year's. Yeah. So we got it right before you guys. Yeah. Dude, it was brutal.
And the thing was,
I got COVID-69.
And here's the thing, my wife She tested. Bella tested. They all tested negative. We went to the doctor. The doctor said, well, it makes no sense to test you for COVID if you've already been tested for COVID. The doctor, and I'm not trying to start a controversy here, but the doctor said, our test kits here at the office are just as good as the ones you have in your house. So if you tested negative, you tested negative.
Someone told Rach, like, have you guys tested yet? And she was just like, no, and we're not testing. It's not going to change the way I live my life. Like, we just carry on. We have the flu.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Here we go again.
And Bella tested negative for flu.
Yeah.
So it's just a really bad cold.
Viral.
Yeah. And the thing was, I wore a mask a couple times because it made sense. And I was trying to explain that to my kids. So I'm taking Bella. This is when I was feeling okay, but Bella was still feeling kind of sick. I got to take Bella into the car. So I'm wearing a mask. And Bella just kind of looks at me like, you're wearing a mask? I'm like, I'm going to be in an enclosed environment. I don't want to get sick.
Dude.
And so we get to the doctor's office. We're wearing our mask. Not a problem. The lady at the front desk, she's like, oh, thank you for wearing your mask. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the time it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
If you don't want to get sick or you are sick, wear a mask.
Bro, there's this comedian that I started following.
These ones you sent to me?
The mask thing?
The ones you sent to me on Instagram.
Yes.
Okay.
The guy's like,
oh my gosh.
Somebody out of nowhere, he just goes, he points at the lady in the front row and he goes, are you okay, ma'am?
Oh, yes.
And they pan the camera and she's got a mask on. He goes, are you sick? Or we're just trying to tell us who you're voting for? Hola, Pam. And
we'll get to you in a moment there, Pam.
And then he goes, he like kind of banters with her and she's kind of laughing. He goes, I think she's laughing. I can't really tell. And then he goes, well, thanks for, making it out to the show with how you are. I was like, oh,
and she was laughing too. That was the cool part.
Hey, there's Randy. Good morning, Randy Collinsworth. Randy Michelle.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
right on. I heard you had a good walkthrough yesterday.
It was a great walkthrough. Good morning, Dame.
I wanted to bring that up because
please do.
I love the fact that you're doing.
To talk about me.
I know you do. I love the fact that you're doing these walkthrough Wednesdays now.
It's fun, man. I'm actually having a really good time with it. It's just like, I'll be honest. Like Rory and I were talking about this like a lot over the last probably month and a half. Like, I think both of us have kind of fallen into a rut the last 6 months to a year. Rory said that we just never came out of our own COVID fog. We got really used to not dealing with people, and so kind of our I don't want to say mission, but one of our goals is just to get back to doing the things that we do. And one of those was, I don't know if you guys remember, but when Rory and I first started dating back in 2018. We did these a lot. Yeah. Remember we did like the crazy house in Gig Harbor?
I remember we pissed off. What did we piss off? It was.
It's a shorter list to say who we didn't.
I know, that's true. That's true. Our buddy Corey. Our buddy Corey, who just got,
Corey
just got a digit.
And that came up the other day on my memories, and I was dying laughing about it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Actually, I upset Stacy, and now
that's right.
The crazy thing is that I love Stacy. Stacy and I love each other.
Yep.
Like she's wonderful.
Yep.
Anyway, but it didn't start off on the right foot.
No.
Anyway, so we're getting back to doing these. Yesterday was the second one of the year. It was our own listing. Randy Michelle's great house out in Lakeland. Yeah, I'm having fun with it. It's got a good,
That's awesome. And I like it because it gives people a chance to walk through a house. Because pictures can only do so much.
Yeah.
If you do a walkthrough and you got commentary, you got a guy who's going to give honest commentary, not a guy who's going to be, fluffy and all this stuff. Because last week, the one you did, and here's the beautiful thing. This is what I thought was beautiful about it. You told us what city you were in, but you didn't tell us the listing. You didn't tell us the number. You didn't tell us the address. No. And the thing is when he goes through these houses, like the one last week and obviously yesterday, when you go through these, you're honest. You're telling the truth. You're like, hey, listen, the carpet needs to be redone. Or, hey, the walls need to be repainted. I mean, this is all good feedback. So if somebody was to get upset, it'd be like, hold on a second here. I'm actually doing you a favor because this is what the public is going to see when they go through the house.
Well, and I think the important part of that I've been trying to do is offer solutions. Hey, the carpet's a mess, but we could do a carpet allowance. There's ways to fix this. It's easy to point out what's wrong.
Oh my gosh!
What solutions?
The man, the myth, the legend, right there. What is this guy doing? Oh my gosh! You know what? We've actually been thinking about you.
Yeah, we want to have you on, dude.
Yeah,
let's do it.
We'll be in touch. Yeah. I think it would be awesome to have you on.
Yeah, man. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, bro. Love you.
Yeah, I love you too, man. We'll talk soon, bro.
See you, man. Mr.
Great
Josh
guy.
Meeks,
Josh
everybody.
Meeks.
Josh Meeks.
If we're not your cup of tea, call that guy.
That's right.
He's amazing.
That's right.
So, yeah, I think it's really easy to go through things and nitpick things. If we can provide some kind of value while we're doing those and just kind of show people, I think it'd be cool to do. We'll do some together too. I think it'd be cool. We've done some together that are fun. Remember the one we did like where the door upstairs was only like 5.5 feet tall, and I was standing in front of it. And I looked like a giant. Like,
oh my gosh!
It was the one where we were showing to Josh. His wife went to the airport, and then he sold it later. Anyway, oh, Rory's on.
I'm trying to remember which one that was.
You know what I'm talking about? We sold him the house up in like Fife, Tacoma area.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyway, we'll do some together. They're fun to do together too. But I'm glad. What does Randy say? Randy says, "Too bad the walkthroughs cannot be added to the listing like Zillow. They would be a great add to all the realty sites. Actually, there's ways to do certain things with that, so we can look at that. The walkthrough was awesome, by the way. Thanks, Randy. Hey, really, dude, I was glad Randy was there yesterday. I fully anticipated seeing Michelle, and I've known Michelle forever, so it was kind of good. It was cool to hang out with Randy, and we BS for a while yesterday. Great guy. I'm glad that him and Michelle have each other. They're setting out on a great adventure.
Yeah, they are.
Chapman. So, all right.
Stephen Curtis Chapman. Boy, that's old.
You like that reference?
That's old. Holy smokes. I just gave Josh some love. That's why I was doing. I had to give Josh some love, everybody.
Yeah. Great.
Did
great
you
guy.
already put that up? If you did, I'm already sorry.
No. All right. So, what else? Man, okay.
So what's going on? Is there anything going on in the world? Where do we start?
I mean, it's been a boring week. Dude, I thought the apocalypse was coming yesterday. I thought we were in Revelations.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's set the scene. I think that's the best way to do it. That's how we go down this road. Trust me, we'll get to the Huskies because I can't wait.
Start with it because then we're going to give the rest of the show. Start with the Huskies.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a bummer, man. Look, the biscuits were solid, Randy. I appreciate it. Randy had biscuits for me when I got there.
Oh,
So
dude.
good. Yeah. Smelled good, too.
See, Randy, and I would have been there, dude, but.
So I'll tell you this. This was kind of funny. You guys will get a kick out of this. Me being a Coug fan, my son has taken a liking to the Huskies, which I understand. Like, he's got buddies. He's in first grade. And, like, I was a Cowboy fan in the 90s because they were winning, right? So they were everywhere. So I get it. In the Northwest. Yep. I've kind of razzed him about it. But, like, he put on a Husky shirt. His mom got him, and he, for the national championship. And then, I was like, in my mind, I'm like, for his sake, I'm kind of like, I hope they win for his sake. Like, yeah. And even though, like, there was no, like, you're desperately cheering against them. For me, I'm just like, whatever happens, like, Well, and you went there, so it's a little different.
And the thing is, when I say I'm desperately cheering against them, when I was watching the game Monday night, it was like if the Seahawks or the Cougs were playing against the Huskies. Like when Michigan scored a touchdown, I scared everybody in the house.
Yeah.
So just screaming. Yeah. And I love the fact that my family doesn't understand that. Like,
right. Yeah.
Why are you watching Michigan? Why are you cheering for Michigan?
Yeah. Well, and you went to WSU, so that's, I think that adds,
I got the student loan to prove it.
Yeah, that adds a layer, obviously, compared to, those who didn't. My mom went to WSU, so, she's very, like, diehard Coug, anti-Husky. I watched the game, I think, from a little bit more of a non-bias, just kind of like, let's see what happens.
Yep.
But anywho, all that to say, game's over. My son, 7-year-old Maverick, I said to him, I'm sorry, bud. Sorry about that. And he just looks at me and he goes, didn't play good enough, Dad. He was just so matter of fact about it.
Yeah, and you know what? From the mouth of a babe.
And then the other side of it too, and I totally respect this, is Coach Elliott, the girls' high school coach at PHS. He went to UW, and I got one buddy, Mike Crabb. Facebook, do your thing, text it, send a wave to Mike so he knows.
Send him a middle finger.
Mike, who barely attended college, let alone UW, and acts like he was on the team.
I know.
like he's so like vested.
The only person worse than Mike is Softy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you want to get an idea of Mike, just a taller softy, like a foot taller softy. Anyway, so. But my buddy Alec, the coach, I texted him and I said, hey, man, sorry about the game. And he goes, it's just a game, man. End of the day. He goes, I try not to get too worked up about things I'm really not involved in. And I'm like, good for you. Like
such a West Coast thing.
Yeah, you're just so like, meh, But the coach and the girls, you see them on the sidelines just,
Oh, yeah.
So vested. But, yeah, look, for the Northwest and for Husky fans, sorry about it. I don't know what to tell you.
All right, so Pamela says, I just wish the Huskies would have played Monday the way they played all season. It's definitely cool to be there, though. So I want to preface something, and I think Luke agrees with me on this. Husky fans like Pamela and Andrea.
Yeah, we love it.
And we got a lot of friends out there, Husky fans. Those of you that went down to Houston to go to the national championship game, I'm jealous as hell. That is amazing. That is so cool to be able to enjoy that moment. So when I say,
and honestly, I'm glad your team, you got to watch your team.
Right.
Good for you.
And to be able to go do that, that is so cool. And I'm so excited and happy for you.
Yeah.
Now, as for your team, I'm glad that they screwed up on national TV. And I agree with Pamela here. The Huskies did not play like the Huskies I've seen.
I think that's the question. Is that did they not, or was it what Michigan did? Because
yes.
I did watch a lot of things
It's
afterwards,
both.
and they said, "Here's the deal. What people don't realize is what Michigan was doing on defense is they were showing one thing and switching at the last second, like things that the Huskies hadn't seen before.
Yeah,
and that had a lot to do with it.
Oh yeah,
So-
And they were saying that on the broadcast as well. And I think the game was too big for them. At the end of the day, I think the game was too big for them.
You know who I feel really bad for in the entire thing is I feel bad for Penix. By all accounts, a great kid. He's had a great couple of years.
I didn't want to see him hurt. I mean, that's the thing is.
And I always say, don't let me see a kid fail.
No.
Let me see a team win because they made an incredible play, but don't let me see a team win because the other team, a kid from the team, made a bad play, or didn't play well. I wonder what Penix has done to his draft stock.
I don't think he's heard it too much. The latest I heard is that the Falcons might be in the mix.
Okay.
I think they're like the number 7 pick or something like that. I'm interested to know what was his injury.
Yeah, I mean,
does
they had
anybody
him
know?
hiding something because he was.
Well, and the thing is, I'm not a conspiracy theorist in the sense of I thought he was injured before the game, but what was the injury he got towards the end of the game?
And their running back was obviously operating at about 40% tops.
The wide receiver. How do you say his name? Adunze. Bro, that guy's a man among boys.
That guy's a man. Yeah, he's.
Oh my gosh, they're picking him in the top 10.
Yeah, he'll be there, top 10.
Watching that guy against the Cougs, against the Ducks,
He's so
against
good.
Michigan.
So
oh
good.
my gosh! And there were
So good.
there were so many almost plays for the Huskies. Like there was one play, I want to say in the first half, where it was a 4th and something, and they went for it.
Yeah.
And he just overthrew the receiver. Just barely.
Oh, that was Adunze. He threw it to the wrong side, and it was wide open. That's when I knew, that's when I kind of had a feeling like, what's going on here? Because you don't see Penix miss those throws, and he missed that badly.
Badly.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely badly. Pamela says Rome is the only one left to declare for the draft still.
Yeah.
You know what? And I
think he's gone.
I got on to ESPN, and they've done the way too early college top 25.
Yeah.
That's what they call it, the way too early.
Yeah.
And the Huskies are down at like number 11.
Well, I think that's the case. They're going to have a young quarterback.
Yeah.
Is
it Will Rogers?
Well, Will Rogers is coming in and going to battle with Austin Mack.
Okay.
Who's the true freshman this year. And
How
Austin
cool
Mack,
of a freaking name is that? Austin Mack.
Yeah. And that kid is talented. He can spin the ball. But, it's the other thing you guys got to worry about, and we'll talk about it here in a minute, is your boy, there it is, is your boy DeVore, Kalen DeVore. We'll talk about it here in a minute. So that's my segue. Let's just get over it.
Not quite a segue here because I want to talk what Drew just said. They got smacked around by Big Ten defense. So does Washington, Oregon, USC, and UCLA really want to go against Big Ten schools?
I told Mike that day, I was like, dude, if I was you, I would be begging to get back into the Pac-2 because they did get smacked around by Big Ten defense, and now you're looking at that next year, Ohio State, Michigan State, all these schools that can flat out get after.
And you're gonna get paid. You're gonna get paid half of what Rutgers gets paid.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those things where I genuinely say, careful what you wish for.
Absolutely.
And I think we kind of saw that the other night, and that's not to say that they can't compete and that they won't compete.
Right.
I'm just saying, careful what you wish for.
Right. Exactly.
Those are some big boys.
I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be tough in the Big Ten because here's the thing, and I think it was a couple of Huskies that brought this up, where the West Coast football doesn't get enough respect. And to a degree, I agree with. I think it was Adunze that said that.
Yeah.
There's Joshua Meeks right there. We're gonna get Joshua on here, you guys.
Yeah, he'll be a great interview.
The thing is that I lost my train of thought. Josh does that to me.
Doomsday is the only one. It's his piercing eyes, dude.
It is.
Yeah.
It is his eyes.
I was lost.
West Coast football.
Yeah.
To an extent, they're right that West Coast football is not as strong as the East Coast and the South. But I think the thing is, over time, either Washington is going to rise to the occasion, or they're going to bow down. Oh.
He did it. End of the day, guys, genuinely, like, I feel bad for you guys. I know that sucks for everybody.
I do. I mean, honestly, I do too. I didn't want to. I mean, yes, I did
would've
want to
loved
see a blowout.
I would have loved like a 35-32 game where Michigan gets a touchdown at the end, kind of a deal.
And I thought that was going to happen.
Yeah.
The Huskies were starting to make a comeback.
In reality, it was just like it was just a handful of plays here and there. I mean, it was close until.
And I will agree with some fans. There was a lot of holding by Michigan. I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah.
I was even watching plays in real time, going, "How did you not catch that?"
Yeah.
You normally could see it in the slow mo. It was like, oh, come on.
Yeah, there was some stuff. It's
and I've heard some people complain about it. Even Softy's like, you know what? I'm not going to complain about the reffing. I'm not going to live in that space.
I mean, end of the day, like, you can complain about the refs all you want. Like, on that fourth down play, you hit a Doomsday and then get a touchdown. It's a different game. Like,
you got it.
It's like Rachel always tells me, and I love this about my wife because she's such a competitor.
Yeah.
And she was an athlete, and she's like, I will never allow my kids to complain about to say that the officials cost them the game, because you could always play harder.
Right.
You could always do more.
You got to play through that.
Now, that was before she became a basketball mom. But like, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know, like, it is, at the end of the day, there's still plays that you can make. There's still things you can do. And quite honestly, Michigan made them and Washington did not. And that's, indicative of the final score.
So, I mean, a small
Lexi, big booty.
Small golf clap for what the Huskies did this year.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
It was a great year.
14-1. You beat Oregon twice. You steamrolled the Pac. Well, I won't say you steamrolled. You beat everybody in the Pac-12.
You had some close ones. You had some nail biters.
But you did lose on the national stage. And I mean, I've seen
moving along.
Yeah. I've seen some people, well, we've done this and we did this and we did this and we did this. You did.
I know.
Your team did.
My favorite, by the way, guys, dog fans. My favorite, and I heard this so many times in the last week, back where we belong. And I'm like, okay, listen. I get it. Have pride. But you are not Alabama. You are not Ohio State. You are not Michigan. Like, you have one co-national championship.
Right.
And I'm not taking that away from you. That team was phenomenal.
Nope.
Okay, I'm not taking that away from you. But then from there's been a lot of mediocrity over the last 30 years. And so this whole now, when Saban took over Alabama and then they won their first national title and everyone was like, roll tide, back where we belong. I get that. That makes sense. Like, Alabama's been the powerhouse for 100 years. Everyone's screaming back where we belong over the last week about the Huskies. I'm like, guys.
The goal and the
one
thing is,
national title in 1991, and
see, it's such a Pacific Northwest thing too. There was only one Husky national champion.
I'm sorry, guys, that bothered the hell out of me. I'm like,
on the field that night, there was only one national champion, which I thought was super classy. Having Steve Entman go out there for the coin toss, I thought that was super classy.
Yeah, it still looks like he could play. Huh?
Oh, hell yeah!
A mountain dude.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool. But here's the thing,
haters. I'm not wrong.
No, I want to do it like this.
Yeah.
The thing is that if you're back where we belong, that means you need to win this.
Yeah.
You need to go back again next year. You guys need to pull a J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And say we're going to go back to the national championship game and win it again.
Well, there are some people who have J.J. McCarthy picked in the first round. I'm just not that impressed.
No.
And look, I'm not like a scout by any stretch.
I think he could use some extra coaching in the NFL.
Yeah,
but I mean, this is what I'm talking about. And Pamela, I love you, and this is awesome. 14-1, Pac-12 champs, Sugar Bowl champs, and college football final game in the second year. It's a great year, and you can be a proud Husky fan. Absolutely,
you got to be able to do it year in and year out.
But your teams are loser. I mean, it really is.
Our audience is gonna.
But here's the thing: if you're going to the Big Ten, you got to start thinking like Ohio State. You got to start thinking like Michigan. Like, you lost. That not you. Your team lost. And I just, it's tough love. I love you, and trust me, my Cougs are never going to sniff a college football national championship. I know. Thanks, Mike. Mike, I don't know how many times Mike's told me, have fun in the Mountain West. Okay, have fun in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I mean, yay.
Hey, I'll be celebrating a lot of wins. I don't care at whose expense. Like,
we'll be the best top 25 team in the
well, it'll be like Boise State, man.
And honestly, we'll move on.
Yeah.
But one last thing, Mike says haters.
Yeah.
You damn right we're haters, man. I'm so freaking jealous. You guys got to go to the national championship game in our freaking Cougs. We got to beat you. We lost by 3.
Which was so frustrating because I thought to myself, all the Cougs had to do is execute like 1 or 2 plays, and we wouldn't even have to. We wouldn't even be watching the Huskies.
I know. And there you go. The Cougs didn't do.
Can you
what they
imagine?
needed to do.
You just think about that. Like if the Cougs would have like.
So yes, Mike, we're haters.
If the Cougs would have held on to that last possession, gone down, kicked the field goal or whatever, and won the game, just think about the drastic landscape shift like that would have caused in the college football playoff. I mean, with
Bama would have been in
Florida
there.
State, Georgia.
Oh, not Bama. Bama was already in there. You're right.
Florida State and Georgia.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
2 wins
Yeah.
up. That would have been wild. So, all right, moving on.
Anyways, congratulations,
And listen,
Huskies
I'm going to
fans.
somewhat come back to this in a minute because I do like Pam's the second year of the DeBoer era. Could it be the last?
Well,
year
let's move right
of the
into it.
DeBoer era?
We'll get to the main event after this.
Guys,
You're a Bama guy.
I am a Bama guy.
You like to roll the tide.
So for those of you who don't know, everyone's like, "Oh, you just like Bama because they've been winning." I was a Bama fan when they sucked in the '90s, and the reason is that one of my best friends in the world, Justin, his family's from Alabama, and so he'd go there every summer, and he'd come back, and his grandma would send me like a Crimson Tide shirt, that kind of thing. And so I always had Crimson Tide gear. So growing up, and it's close color to like the Cougs and all that. So growing up, I was Cougs and Tide. That was my deal. And which in the '90s, that was a lot of losing for a while. And so, so I've always been a Tide guy. And so yesterday, I got punched in the nuts twice. And we'll start off with Pete, man.
Well, set the stage. If you're going to start with Pete, set the stage yesterday.
Mike, this is our concern, dude.
Set the stage. This guy, I'm at home. I'm recovering.
Yeah.
I'm getting a couple of real estate things
doing
done.
the walkthrough
Yep,
at
yep.
Randy's, and I have my phone on Do Not Disturb so that I can do the walkthrough without a phone call coming through or something. And I'm talking to Randy. I'm BSing. I get to the car. I flip my phone off Do Not Disturb, and I have a text message from my amazing 18-year-old now daughter, Maddie. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, Dad, Pete is out." And I'm like, "What?" I immediately go to ESPN and I'm like, "Holy crap." I called him right away. I'm like, "Dude, are you watching anything on the news?" And he's like, "No." And all I said was, "Go to ESPN."
So he calls me up, and I'm working on work stuff. He just got done with doing the walkthrough video. So I'm downloading the video. I'm getting it put out to different social media things. I'm listening to classical music. I love listening to classical music when I'm doing work because it keeps.
I get that, yeah.
And so I'm just, just going along, doing my thing. And I get a call from this guy. He's like, let's see if I can remember what you said. I think you said,
"Are you watching the news?"
"Are you watching the news?" And I'm like, "Oh,
Are you
hell."
paying attention to the news?
No, you said, "Are you watching the news?" And I'm like, "Oh, hell. A terrorist attack. Joe
Right.
Biden died."
I thought about that
What's
once I
going
said
on?
it.
Right. I'm like, "Oh, no. What is going on in the world?"
Joe
And I'm like,
Biden,
"No,
Joe
I'm not watching." He goes, "Pull up ESPN." So I'm like, "Okay, I'll pull
Okay,
up
we're
ESPN.
not under attack.
Yeah. So I pull up ESPN, and I kid you not, this is exactly what happened.
Yeah. He made that noise.
I made that noise.
I thought he was attacked by a
Oh my
velociraptor.
gosh! The thing was that it shouldn't have been surprising, but it was surprising.
It still caught me way off guard. Like I think for the last 2-3 years, I've kind of been in my mind been like, "Is this it? Is this it?" But then you heard Pete talk in the last week, like he's
fired up.
Yeah, and I don't think he's done yet. And they were talking about that on the radio this morning. I don't think he's done yet. Someone mentioned the San Diego job.
I think it'd be brilliant to go to San Diego.
Yeah.
He's a Southern California guy.
Yeah,
I think it'd be brilliant
you
for him to
mentioned
go.
it. That's right. I guess at the end of the day, I told a story about him. Rory, you just heard me talking to a gentleman in here. Rachel ran into Pete and his wife in Sumner like 7 or 8 years ago. She was just parked at one of the parking rides where you go for the walk. There's a walking path, and she was going to go for a walk. And she gets out of the car, and here comes Pete and his wife. They ride their bikes, and she was so stunned, but she didn't want to be like, oh my gosh, Pete Carroll, right? And then they just sat there and talked for a couple minutes, and he was just talking about how beautiful it was, how gorgeous it was. Loved that ride. Him and his wife did that ride, and then they went their separate ways. And she was like, he's just so warm and inviting.
Yeah.
And
have you read his book?
I haven't. No, have you?
Oh my gosh, dude! Out of all the books you haven't read,
I know, for real,
I
right?
love his book.
Okay, I'll have to read it.
Dude, when I read his book, I'm like, how can I incorporate this into my life?
I think that his biggest, for me, I think what you could say might be his biggest accomplishment is last night. It was coming through the radio station this morning, different news stations this morning, that essentially ex-Seahawks from around the country just descended on Seattle last night and had a huge dinner. And one of them was Russell Wilson. He flew immediately in from Denver.
He's got nothing else to do.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, boom. But that just to me was just even with the messy breakup with Russ and all that kind of stuff, Russ felt like he had to be here. And, and there was a bunch of them, Cliff Averill, Richard Sherman, and Baldwin, and Russ. So many of them, Gino, were out to dinner last night, just celebrating and talking about the good old days. And I just thought, I love that. I love that. Does that happen with Bill Belichick?
Oh, hell no.
No. And I
Drew, you can chime in on that.
They talked about that this morning. Maybe
not
maybe
to
in
that
10 years.
not to that extent.
Brock talked about it this morning on the radio. I think you caught a little bit of it. He's one of one. When he came here from USC, I think you, me, probably most people were like, okay, sunshine and rainbows, Southern California is not going to work in the NFL, right? It's not going to work. And he proved everybody wrong.
And the thing was, I was willing to give him a chance because you remember who the coach was before him?
Oh, yeah. Dude. It was Mora, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mora was that kind of in the middle between Holmgren and...
Yeah. And I always felt like Mora just didn't fit.
He's just so angry.
Yeah. And when Pete came in, did you think when Pete came in that he was going to be the greatest Seahawks coach ever?
No, I mean, you still got Holmgren, right? Because we were
right,
and it was in ground Chuck Knox, still from my childhood, and it's just Pete is, and Mike said something yesterday. I don't know if Mike's still on here. Mike said something to me yesterday, and I think it's a good point. He said, he's like, careful what you wish for. Yes, we haven't been winning playoff games lately, and yes, we haven't been a Super Bowl contender the last few years. But we also haven't endured like what Seahawks fans in the 80s endured.
Oh, hell.
Or what Browns fans have endured.
The 90s.
And Mike said for a second, he goes, it's amazing how all these people were like, good, it's about time, blah, blah, blah. A lot of those people. It's amazing how you get used to winning and get tired of it. It's a fine line between being competitive for a playoff spot in Carolina every year. And, I'm just... Yeah, there it is.
Here, I'll get it up there.
Don't get too tired of winning. And Mike, that was a great point he made to me yesterday, and I 100% agree with it. Look, I will take 9-8, 10-7, or 9-8, 10-7 type stuff, competing for a playoff spot. If that's what we're doing every year, at least giving ourselves a chance to get in and make a run, that's really not a bad place to be, And it is weird how many people, like, oh, we're not that good, not that good. I'm like, you've had a run of 14 straight seasons of being a playoff contender, essentially, and what you mad about? What you mad about?
But to that extent, because I'm one of those people, and I wasn't one of those people that was out there saying he needs to go, we need to fire him. I wasn't one of those people, but there is something to say when you look at the games, and you think to yourself, we shouldn't have lost to the Ravens the way we did. We shouldn't have lost to the Steelers the way we did. We shouldn't have lost to the Rams at the beginning of the season the way we did. I mean, there's just so many shoulda, coulda, wouldas this season. It's what made it frustrating.
Mike says, people calling for Tomlin to be fired blows my mind. Never a losing season in 17 years, and you want to move on from that? Okay. That's a wonderful point.
That's a good point.
It is just like
I'd say,
there
by the
are
way,
teams that have losing seasons for 17 straight
I'll
years.
take Tomlin in a heartbeat. If he wants to change the scenery, Mike,
I
come
think
on
he's-
over to Seattle.
I think he's one of the closest you can get to a player's coach that's
Oh,
that
yeah.
successful.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Well, you bring up a good point. Look at the Bears. The Bears didn't fire their coach,
yeah, I know.
and they're a freaking hot mess.
Now, the other side of that coin is,
Okay.
and I think this is fair, is that we're a respected enough franchise now that has gotten used to winning to the point where it's kind of nice to belong to a fan base of a franchise where ownership demands more at this point. Like if you're
Yes.
a Browns fan for the last 20 years, like you're like, I freaking would love 9-8. Like give me, let me be happy
Yep.
half the time.
Yep.
Like we are now a franchise that expects to compete for Super Bowls, expects to win in the playoffs. And at the end of the day, we've got one playoff win in the last 6 years. We've missed the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years by one game. It's come down last week, but we still have. And so the other side of that too is I'm kind of glad that our ownership is of the mindset that this is a winning franchise and we expect to go to the playoffs. And,
Right.
and if we're not, then we're underachieving. And so,
Right.
and if you look at the pieces on this team, on both sides of the ball, there are some absolute studs.
Okay. Well, let me do this. Because we got Crab here still. We got Drew. We got you. Anybody else that wants to chime in, please chime in. What do you think? Acres on here too. I'll get it up there in a second.
Yeah.
My question is to you and to everybody else out there is in that meeting with Jody, John, and Pete yesterday or whenever they had it.
Yeah.
What is so unfixable that they had to let Pete go? Because from all accounts, Pete said he competed to keep his job.
I wonder, yeah.
What isn't so fixable that they had to let him go?
What Akers say. What it boils down to is that we are about to start a new era with a new QB and a young team. Do we want to start with a 72-year-old who has been pretty darn mediocre in the past 7-8 years? But I'll always love Pete and be thankful for him, excited for the future. Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people are.
That's fair.
That's
fair, Ryan.
I think mediocre might be a bit of a stretch. I mean, it's hard to win in the NFL, but you're right. I mean, they haven't been a Super Bowl contender the last few years, and so I think we're on the.
Magruder says yes, you do. I'm not sure what that's for. He said yes, you do.
Maybe he's.
Maybe he's talking to Acres' comment.
Yeah. Do you want to start over? I don't know. Yeah. Or what you said. I do think it has a lot to do with what Akers said, and I think that I wonder how much John Schneider was like. I love Pete, but it's time to go a different direction. And Schneider's look for as good as he's been in drafts and all that kind of stuff, and as a leader, he's never got to pick a coach in his career. He's never got to shape the franchise the way he wants to. I'm sure he wants to kind of put his stamp on things. So, I'm sure that had something to do with it. I don't.
Aker says mediocre is a stretch, but I agree we have a higher standard to win in first-round playoff losses, as with the ceiling recently.
Yeah,
Yeah?
I think that's a lot to
Well,
do
and
with
the
it.
fact
We
that
expect more.
The fact that we're watching the final game of the year and we're dependent on Green Bay to lose.
When we could have won the week before.
Right, exactly. When we
been a
could have just
conversation.
beat the Steelers. Yeah, and that was my frustration too.
Yeah, maybe he did.
Beller, welcome. Good morning, Beller.
Hey, there he is.
Oh, there he is, right there.
I'm back. Yes, you are. Love you,
Crab
buddy.
says, sounded to me like Schneider forced him out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
might
what
be.
it does sound like.
I mean, I will say this, and I think this might happen.
Magruder says, want to start a rebuild with Pete at the helm, or at least give him the option. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. I hear you. Maybe
Yeah.
he's earned that. What I will say though is this, and this might have something to do with it. You might have the best receiving core in football, and I'm including the tight ends in this mix.
Yeah.
DK, JSN, Tyler Lockett,
Noah Fant.
Joe Bobo is an incredible fourth guy. You got Fant, Parkinson, Uncle Will, the tight end positions, all great pass catching tight ends. Pete is loyal to a fault and was being loyal to a fault with Gino, I think.
Yeah.
And it might have been that. It might have been we have too many weapons right now. Mike and I had a conversation about this earlier in the year. Like, You send DK to somewhere like Philadelphia or Miami, he catches.
Oh,
you know,
my gosh. He's having a record season.
Yeah, he catches 120 balls for 1,800 yards and 16 touchdowns. And it's and that with that, that's the direction I think they're going.
Yeah.
Look, the ground and pound was great, but also we ground and pounded with Marshawn Lynch, who is also like what running back? There's not many Marshawns walking around. Him. No. What's the most recent example? Derrick Henry. And like there's not. Who's that guy? Don't get me wrong. I love K9 and I love Charbonnet. I think they're great backs and I think they've got a future here. But they're not Marshawn Lynch.
No, I'd love to see Derrick Henry here. I honestly would. Beller says he's 72 years old, regardless of his energy generation gap is too much. Yeah, no. I think you're onto something there. I mean, the fact.
Neither did the people in Avatar, Jake. Give me a break, buddy. Anyway, go ahead.
It doesn't look nothing like your Avatar. That's true. I don't have a thermometer in my mouth. This actually was going to come up before Pete got fired. Was in the locker room at the end of the game. It was brought up that some of the guys were smoking cigars. Now, granted, I think it was because someone had a kid, and I think someone else made the Pro Bowl or something. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Julian Love.
But they were smoking cigars.
I think that might have been the nail in the coffin.
It could have been.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a time and a place, and it wasn't in the locker room.
Wasn't after you just found out you didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, you weren't good enough to make the playoffs.
Yeah, go to the bar afterwards. Go rent your room over at Daniel's Broiler, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Not in the locker room after you just didn't make the playoffs.
Well, and I love the fact that you and everybody has brought up the point that
love you, buddy.
There's an expectation now. There's an expectation for winning. There's an expectation for winning in the playoffs, for competing for Super Bowls. Are you okay there?
Yeah.
Are you having a?
I'm having a seizure. Yeah.
And I think that comes from the next guy we're going to talk about. This guy set the model. He set the model for what the Seahawks wanted to become. And when we found out this morning that Bill Belichick was fired, it was like, well,
I said it 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, you said it. You said that was going to happen next. And
I think they either go, honestly, my pick is I like what Drew says. Drew says Mayo or Vrabel. I think Harbaugh's another one that they talk to.
Well, that would be interesting.
But here's the thing, though. Let's be honest. Let's point something out. Like, how far have the Patriots fallen compared to, like, you want to talk about, like, mediocrity? Like, if Belichick wasn't Belichick, he would have been fired a couple years ago.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I mean, what are they? What were they, like 4-13 this year? Or
they were this year.
I mean, like, at what point, like,
Aker says Crab loves Harbaugh.
Yeah,
oh, he does.
No, gosh, I loathe him.
Drew, are you serious? Because I believe you.
I cried in the shower. Yeah. I totally believe it. Like, he's brought you guys 6 titles. But if we're honest,
3. Drew said 3. Only won 3.
Yeah. See, and so if I'm professional sports.
Bro, that's what the Jets used to do.
Yeah. Bill had 3 to 4 years to prove that he could win without Tommy and can never pull it off. And that's it right there, Gruder. That's exactly it. And he couldn't replicate it. And it was time. Like, he had to go, I think. Or you would have just been seeing more of the same. And I think that the stigma, what is the word I'm looking for? But that air of Bill Belichick and the Patriots, it was gone. Like, no one was afraid of the Patriots
so
anymore.
Many different things to
Not
talk about.
Not one coach feared Bill Belichick's mind anymore. It was over. Like, and they had to go. Lots behind the scenes we have no clue about. Pete might be the alien from Miami. He may want to head back to LA. Nobody really knows. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, 3 was the number. No more, no less. Yeah.
So just think about something for a second. We'll get to your boy Saban.
Yeah. Greatest college coach in history.
Just think about this. Pete Carroll was the Seahawks. Bill Belichick was the Patriots. Nick Saban was Alabama. I mean, we just saw, if we just stop to think for a second, in the last 24 hours,
3 Hall of Fame coaches.
We just saw 3 programs lose their face.
Not even their face. And that, and 3 of the greatest coaches
right
ever coached the game.
Carroll's the greatest Seahawks coach. Belichick is clearly the
what Carroll
greatest.
did at USC and here.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And of course Saban.
Belichick, Saban. Saban is the greatest college football coach ever.
I was thinking about this as I was driving in because you, me, and Mike have been bouncing back and forth the last 24 hours. Ha, this, that, and the other. But then to think about it for a second. These are three of the greatest coaches ever to play, or not ever to play, but to ever coach
Yeah.
in the NFL and college.
I don't think Pete's
And
done
they're
yet.
gone.
Ryan. I don't think Pete's done yet.
Like you hit on the head. Are these like, when's the apocalypse coming?
Yeah, dude.
Do they know
Revelations.
something about our country that we don't?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It's and I said yesterday too, because I said a couple weeks ago that Belichick was going to be gone.
Yep.
And once Pete was gone yesterday, I said that's it. That's the other shoe to drop with Belichick. And I almost felt like once they saw Pete go, they were like, "Now's our moment." Like it's another legend's going. Saban just went. Like we got to do this now.
Akers says this may have been talked about, but is Pete coaching the NFL in the future?
I think he does. I don't think he's done yet.
I don't think he's going back to college. I don't think so.
I think he goes into the right situation.
But like
somewhere.
Beller said, is there a generation gap? Is he too old?
Yeah, we'll see.
Ah, man. Let's see. Drew says, I'm glad the Celtics and Bruins seasons are rolling. It helps numb the pain of the Patriots.
Yeah.
That's true. Drew
that's
says
the
Bill's not
thing.
done either.
Yeah.
Now, okay, let's play that game.
Here's the thing with the Bills not done yet either thing.
Oh, yes. That's my boy right there. F. Harbaugh. I won't watch any coaches here. You're so full of dog crap. Literal D-A-W-G.
Has Bill done enough damage in the last 3 years to his coaching resume that there won't be any teams or players that want to deal with the Belichick personality at his age?
That's a good question.
And my instinct is yes. But we'll see.
Well, I sent Drew a text the other day. Have you seen that new documentary? It's going to come out on Apple Plus or Apple TV or whatever the hell it's called. Dynasty.
Oh.
Bro, I'll send you the link. I sent it to Drew. That looks so good.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It looks so good.
I mean, even the greatest quarterback, one of the greatest quarterbacks in history was done with Bill Belichick's crap. Like,
yeah.
And so I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
But
Aker says, I've heard rumors of Pete and Russ joining back up in Atlanta.
That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting.
I don't know that Pete and Russ can coexist anymore. I don't.
You don't think so?
Unless Russ has been humbled enough in the last year or two that he's like, I'm sorry, coach, I screwed up. Let's do it your way.
Let's see. Magruder says, Beller says Pete goes to the Chargers. That's what I think too. That's my dark horse right there. And I told you last week, and I know Mike is going to cringe when I say this, but my dark horse is that Harbaugh was going to be the Seahawks coach.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he will either.
I think it's either.
But that would be amazing.
I think it's either Dan Quinn.
And I don't. You know what? I'm
go
going to take Magruder. Well, let me get to Magruder's comment. They are all
70 or close to it.
I hope they all hang it up and enjoy some years of peace and relaxation. All these coaches are old dudes.
Yeah.
Sounds like a certain president that should do the same thing. Okay, anyway, sorry. I don't want Dan Quinn. I don't want Dan Quinn.
That's fine, yeah.
And I was thinking about that, and he's been with the organization twice, correct?
Yeah.
And he was hell of a defensive coordinator for the Hawks.
Well, he's one of the best defense coordinators in football right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want him as head coach. There are just some coaches out there that should stay offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators. They're just not head coaches. What did I say this morning to the guy that we met, Corey? I said, I don't want Josh McDaniels.
I hate that guy.
I don't want those people because they're good as
What I would say
defensive
is that
coordinators.
Dan Quinn, what I would say about Dan Quinn is, though, he's never been given a chance really to show he is a good head coach or not. He didn't get much of a shake the first time.
Where was he at? Atlanta?
Yeah, he didn't get much of a shake. It was like 2 years and whatever. Like, he didn't get a chance to really turn things around. But here's to your point, though, is what direction do they want to go with the next head coach? Dan Quinn is of the Pete Carroll coaching tree. He's like Pete. He's a rah-rah player kind of a guy. Do you want that, or are you going for a young offensive mind?
See, and the thing is, it's a roll of the dice because the Dolphins, they got lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody really.
Yeah, he did take a team to the Super Bowl as head coach. Yeah.
Who did?
Dan Quinn. He took Atlanta, and then it all fell apart in the fourth quarter or whatever. That was that.
Oh,
Yeah.
why do I not remember that?
Yeah.
Well, I guess was that the 28-3 halftime?
Yes.
Ooh.
Debacle. Yeah. And the power went out weirdly.
Oh,
Stopped all the
yeah.
momentum. Yeah.
All right, Drew says Bill is going to the Chargers. They have a
The enemy.
pocket passing
Coach Q to
quarterback.
the Seahawks.
A strong
Stellar.
defense, just need a younger receiving core. I think the Chargers are a top spot. And I think if enough money's thrown at Pete, I think he won't take that year to take a break. Because if he's really excited and fired up, he ain't sticking around with the Seahawks, you guys. I mean, as much as he was saying that yesterday in his press conference,
He might for a year.
I don't even think that. I think if the right opportunity presents itself, he wants to keep it going.
You know who I love?
Your wife?
Mike McDaniel.
Dude,
I love Mike McDaniel.
I want someone like him.
Make
I
a
want someone like
splash.
him.
Make a run at Mike, dude. Try to pry him away from the Dolphins.
Bill's coaching tree is not a strong one. A lot of dying
Rex Ryan to the
branches.
Seahawks. Shut your mouth, Andrew Long.
Russ flew out last night, celebrated with Pete and the fellas. Yeah, Rex Ryan to the Seahawks.
You know what?
No.
If you want to celebrate or if you want to try to repair your image in Seattle and everywhere else, Russ, that was the most perfect thing to do. That was class.
Yeah.
And he was the very first one yesterday of all Seahawks and ex-Seahawks to post something to Pete on his Instagram yesterday. He was the very first one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So.
Pete to Carolina or Washington?
And you know who else I don't want to see? Ron Rivera.
No.
I love Ron Rivera, yeah.
Both agree.
Great leader, servant of men, wonderful human being by all accounts. I think the game has passed him by.
Yep.
It's time to move on from that.
So what do we got? What's open out there, you guys? We got the Patriots open, the Seahawks open, the Commanders are open.
Bro, you got to consider the Tide like an NFL team. It's going to attract some NFL coaches.
What's that?
The Tide, Alabama.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, but
can I talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, let's get into that because why would you want to be the coach of the Crimson Tide following Nick Saban?
That's a great question, and I think that's a hard follow, right? That's like trying to take the stage after Elvis or something like the Beatles. It's a tough follow, but still, it's the Alabama Crimson Tide. Most championships in college football history, storied program, and it goes beyond Saban, and Bear Bryant and the whole gambit of their history. There is nothing. Here's the crazy thing, and I don't think people even realize this, like in the NFL. There is nothing like coaching.
Money would do it.
Yeah, money. And also, there is nothing like coaching a college football team. No, there's nothing. Okay, let me rephrase this. There's no experience quite like coaching.
Magruder. Lane Kiffin is going to Alabama. He's the only dude dumb enough to follow the man. So
I hope to God not. I can't stand Lane Kiffin.
I can't either. He's such a tool.
But here's the thing with Alabama, and I don't think enough people take this in consideration. There's no experience in all of football like coaching a college powerhouse like that in a college town. Like, what else does Alabama have? Right? There's look, say all you want about coaching in the NFL, coaching at professional levels and all that kind of stuff. You coach in a town that's like Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia, where like that is their professional sports team.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's insane. Like, I've driven through Tuscaloosa. I've driven through Alabama. Like, it's different. It is different.
Oh yeah.
And if you have the opportunity, you're a great coach at any level, and you have the opportunity to experience that. I guarantee that's a pull, dude. Like, yes, you got to follow Saban, and I will argue with any of you to the death. He is the greatest college coach in the history of the game.
I can't disagree.
6 national titles in 17 years at Alabama.
And where was he at before? He did 2 years with the Dolphins.
LSU, won a national title at LSU. Then he went to Miami.
LSU.
And if you just want to look at his whole body of work, 28 years as a head coach, 7 national titles. A coach who brings you a national title a quarter of the time, that's insane. Like, I mean,
we just saw two of the greatest coaches leave.
Michigan State before that. Yep.
Two of the greatest coaches. Because everything you're saying, it's like, that's Belichick.
Yeah.
Six, right? Six Super Bowl championships in 24 years.
Yeah. Saban had 6 and 17 at
We're
Alabama.
seeing the greatest
wave of coaches fall. Yeah, I mean, it's and like
Whoa, Saban was at Michigan State?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Wow, that is a long time ago.
And here's the thing.
Drew says Lincoln is the same. They love their volleyball out here, but holy crap, football is a whole different level.
Yeah, I'm sure. And
that's
like,
awesome.
Here's the thing about this. At the college level. Saban in college football, you take Miami out of the picture, whatever, he forayed for 2 years, has never had a losing season. 28 years, never a losing season. 28 years, the worst record he had was 500 twice.
Wow.
I mean, that's crazy.
Wait a second. I'm learning all kinds of stuff. Saban was Belichick's defensive coordinator in Cleveland?
I believe so. Yeah.
Holy crap. This is awesome.
Yeah.
See, this is why we do the show. You guys are educating us. Well, educating me.
He's look, I don't say this just because I'm a Tide fan. I mean, name another coach that has produced like national titles like that. You bring a coach in to win national titles.
Yep.
And that is what he did.
Yep.
And beyond what he did, year in and year out, every year, whether they won the national title or not, they were a threat.
Oh,
they were a competitor for a national title. That is what you bring your head coach in for, and that is and mind you that Nick Saban came into Alabama on the heels of some rough years and resurrected that program. That.
And just think about this college football playoff season. The only reason a one-loss team got into the top 4, because it was Alabama. FSU was undefeated.
Magruder, Alabama has tied season and almost tied season.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean it's crazy, and I think for any coach, it's a pull. It has to be a pull.
Well, it wasn't a pull for the head coach of Oregon.
For Dan Lanning.
I think that was a good move. I think that was a good move because I think he's got something. He's building something down in Oregon. And that's the thing is Oregon is not to Alabama's level, but Oregon's got a history of –
So on the short list that they've mentioned of people they want to interview –
let's hear it.
Was Lanning was one of them. The other one was possibly Lane Kiffin, which I don't like. Lincoln Riley, USC.
Oh. And he just came from Nebraska, right?
No, Oklahoma.
It was one of those Midwest areas.
And I can't remember the other two. And Kalen DeBoer.
Oh.
Now, you guys might say like, oh, no, he ain't going anywhere. But I would also remind you of this. Kalen DeBoer is a small-town football coach from South Dakota who has said several times, like, season's not going on and all that kind of stuff. He likes to get back to a small town. He likes it quiet. We just got done talking about how crazy rabid Alabama football is. I get that, but it's still small town Alabama. I would be surprised if Kalen DeBoer doesn't at least listen to what they have to say and consider taking an interview. Whether he took the job or not, I don't know. But I bring that up because we were just talking about everything else. I bring it up because Washington's quarterback is gone. All of their receivers are gone. Half their defense is gone. They're moving into the Big Ten. Next year is possibly going to be a struggle. Okay? Or as the head coach, you could say, I'm out. I'm going to one of the most storied programs in college football that's still set to compete for a national championship.
Yep.
I'm going to take the next step in my college coaching progression.
Well, we know what happened the last time.
I'm not saying I hope it for you, Washington. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, we know what happened the last time a coach from a Washington University went to Alabama.
Yeah.
They never coached a game.
Yeah, man.
Mike Price.
Yeah, Price.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
He cooped it.
He did. Mike Price. How do you get caught with strippers on week 1?
Bro.
I know. Bro. And the whole like Grandpa Mike Price, like Family Guy thing went right out the window. Like,
oh, boy.
This is what happens when you go from coaching in Pullman to Tuscaloosa, dude. Like,
oh, man. Okay, Drew says Vegas is looking for a head coach.
Lane
And then
Kiffin
Crab-
has Epstein Island photos of every AD in the country. I promise.
And then Crab says Vegas better keep Pierce. I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Matt Rule has got something good rolling out here. Get some top players out of the portal. I agree. I think so too. Matt Rule should stay there.
They're on the run back. I think.
Anchor says Vegas has how do you say his name?
DeBoer.
As the second most likely chance to go to Alabama. He just keeps moving up in the ranks. North Dakota, Fresno, Washington. Washington is in full rebuild. Why wouldn't he leave?
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, I love hearing that.
And Akers a diehard Husky, but he gets it. I mean, DeBoer's crazy if he doesn't listen to it. And, yeah.
Lane Kiffin has Epstein Island photos of every AD in the country, I promise. I've never seen anyone fail up as much as that dummy. That's why he's going to get the Alabama job for 3 years, and they'll hire the next legend. Yeah, and unfortunately, I think he's right. I think that's the safe money right there.
I hope not.
Boy, him and Josh McDaniels, put them on the same staff again.
Here's a name no one's talking about in Alabama. What's his face? Ohio State. Florida, Ohio State.
The coach for Ohio State.
Former coach for Ohio State.
Oh, former coach. Oh, Urban Meyer?
Urban Meyer.
Oh,
no one's talking about it.
No.
He never said he was done coaching.
No.
So
Aker says exactly, Rory. SEC teams should have a foul feeling about Pac-12 coaches. Price and Cristobal were great in the SEC. Yeah, they were just a hot mess. Drew says, talking to town, Huskers beat
Aker
Purdue the other day. Ryan Day. Oh, that's
Ryan Day is the current coach.
He's the current coach. Yeah.
I don't think, and here's the thing, I don't think Alabama goes with so much. Oh, I remember the other one that's on the list. Sarkisian.
Why does that say 04? You know what? I'm a little upset now. And I don't think I could fix that. I'm going to edit right now on the fly. Why does that say great? Now our affiliates are going to be all off.
By the way, since I just saw the date, happy birthday, Chief. It's my dad's birthday.
Happy birthday.
72 today. A ripe young man. And I get to see him later. So happy birthday. I don't think Alabama goes to Lane Kiffin. I think Sarkisian's a possibility. Sarkisian has a lot of love for Alabama. They pulled him up off the scrap heap, picked him up at rehab, gave him another opportunity, which is what led him to where he's at. I could see that happening.
Would you leave what you've got going on in Texas to go to Alabama? Well, I'm asking the wrong person. Would you guys?
No, that's a great question. Texas is another great program.
He's got things rolling in.
He's got Arch coming up, and he does. I just said emotionally speaking, like he's got a huge affinity for Alabama for what they did for him and what Saban did for him. If Saban called him and said, "I want you to take over for me,"
oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Happy birthday, Chief! Best edibles in the nation.
Bro, you ain't lying. Well, you'll probably find out.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, I think Sark's an option. I think DeBoer's an option. I think anybody who's a great coach. Oh, Dabo Swinney. From Clemson. Where did he play college football at? Alabama.
Boy.
And listen, Dabo was about sick and tired of Clemson fans this last year complaining about being 8-4 or whatever, and him I gave you 2 national titles in the last 6 years and whatever. I think Dabo's a safe bet. I think Dabo takes that interview for sure.
I think we're going to be surprised. They're going to be surprised who the coach is going to be there.
Yeah, and they got to get it done quick because already this morning the number 9 recruit in the country backed out of his commitment. Yep. So they got to get it done quick.
And he backed out, one, because of position coach he either left or was let go.
Yeah.
And 2, because of Saban, which kind of flies in the face of what I was talking to you about a couple of weeks ago about is the transfer portal so poisonous now?
Yes.
That and it still is poisonous, but is it so poisonous now that Nick Saban, and I'm glad that was the example I used, Nick Saban would go into a recruit's house, sit in the living room, talk to mom and dad and the recruit, and talk about the storied history of Alabama and all this kind of stuff, and have the kids say, yeah, but how much money am I going to make on the NIL?
Yeah.
And to hear the kids say, I left because the legend is no longer coaching there, kind of flies in the face a little bit of what I was saying.
It was refreshing.
Yeah.
That is refreshing.
Yeah.
And I think he's kind of, from what I understand, that kid is, I can't remember his name, but he's leaving his.
Oh my gosh.
He's leaving it open. Shut
Belichick
your mouth
to
when you're
Bama.
talking to me.
That wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
No.
I think that
I'd be stunned.
I think that Saban waited until after the portal closed.
The Raging Cajun. The Raging Cajun to Alabama.
The Raging Cajun.
Gosh, I should know who this is. Come on, Drew, fill us in.
Oh, no. LSU's coach. Go Tigers. Just won the title. Ed Orgeron.
Oh, former coach at Oregon.
At Oregon, at LSU, won a national title at LSU.
Did he also coach at USC?
He was the coach at USC.
I think, wasn't he like the temporary coach?
Yes.
That's right.
And then they went a different direction.
That's right.
He ends up taking over at LSU, wins the national title. Go Tigers.
Gotcha.
I think Ed Orgeron's done coaching. I do. I think just from hearing him in interviews and stuff, what I could decipher from what he was saying, I think he's quite happy to be cruising on beaches and be done with it. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting. I'm really anxious to watch the next 2 to 3 weeks and where things go. I think Alabama's gonna move quicker than the Hawks or the Patriots just because of recruiting and that kind of thing. I wouldn't be surprised if we find out at the end of it Saban has a hand in whoever comes in.
I believe so.
And I'm really surprised. Honestly, Saban stepping down surprised me more than anything. I thought he still had another year or two. He was going to be around,
I thought so too.
Any women in that building looking for a long distance relationship?
We'll ask. We'll ask after the show. Yeah, we'll send them your Facebook link.
Freaking Beller.
Well, let me touch on this as we kind of put a little bit of a bow on the football talk.
A lot of sports today.
Stick with me for a second here because I'm actually going to come to a conclusion here, and that is Hawk fans, Bama fans, Patriot fans. Things are going to change. Things are going to change, and I'm going to equate this to when we moved away from Puyallup, and we've been away from Puyallup coming up on 3 years now. I'm still here at least once a week.
He sleeps away from Puyallup, and he's pretty mature every day.
But keep this in mind is that we're going to go through a time where, okay, this is exciting, this is cool, this is new, we got a new coach. And then you might run through a little bit of a rough stretch. And you're going to start thinking to yourselves, man, but what if we lived back in Puyallup? Man, but what if Pete Carroll was still here? Man, what if Belichick was still here and Brady was here? Man, what if Saban was still here? And the thing is, it's never going to be the same. And what you're falling in love with and what you're reminiscing about are those great memories. Like, after a time, you're not going to want Belichick back. You're not going to want Saban back. You're not really going to want Pete back. You're going to want the good feelings and the good times and the awesomeness that we had with those coaches. Just like all the memories I have here in Puyallup, 15 years worth of memories, I love those memories. I can't recreate those memories ever again. If I move back to Puyallup, I know that within 10 minutes, I'd be upset because I would be like, it's not the same. It's not the same having them back. And so my point in saying all that is realize that we're going to go through that roller coaster of emotions.
Oh, yeah.
And we have to realize that we miss the memories of having Pete here. Yeah. We miss the memories of having Russ here. We miss the memories of having the Legion of Boom here.
I did hear on the radio.
Marshawn Lynch.
The reunions with the Seahawks and Pete Carroll are going to be legendary.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's always like that reunion, like everyone comes back in town.
He'll be back. Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Absolutely Ring of Honor.
Matter of time. I think that happens quicker than we think. Like maybe next year.
Oh, it has to.
They could just automatically, they just like
it needs to happen.
Shove them in there.
I love the fact that Pete was getting emotional on the
talking about his wife
yesterday.
And talking about his family, his
boys. Because he's not done. I mean, I think it really hurt him that they fired him.
I think so too.
And it's going to take some time.
Well, it goes back to what Mike said. You know, is having a winning team year in and year out not enough?
Yeah.
So it's we'll see, man.
See, Drew says, here's the thing I recall when Patriots was always below 500 in the 80s and 90s since the younger fans had zero clues about those dark days. That's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, I was watching Cortez Kennedy be an absolute,
and be 2-14.
Unstoppable force on a 2-14 team.
Yeah.
And I love those stories because you talk to people who played against Tez, they were like, you know, usually if you're going into a team that was that bad, you're like, oh, good, let's get in there and get the win. And we were like, crap, we got to face Tez. Like, yeah, it was just a savage.
And that thing is like even Ryan over the past couple of years, Ryan is, you know, if the Seahawks lose a game or anything like that, like, man, they really suck. And I'm like,
bro,
listen, your dad lived through the time when the Seahawks could barely win 4 games.
Yeah,
it's a different world now.
Yeah, it is a different world.
But it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, man, what we've witnessed the last 24 hours. And it's just going to be exciting. And this is why we came back. This is why we're doing the show again, for this kind of stuff.
This is fun, and the reactions we get. And honestly, I was thinking about this last night. And I think this is a positive way for me to look at, you know, us doing the show again and stuff, is what I do love about doing a live show is, and I love about, as much as I hate Facebook and social media, and it's a necessary evil, but is it allows me to have a conversation with a group of people instantaneously from all over, wherever my friends are. You know, I'm having a conversation with a bunch of guys and people I respect throughout this show. And I even thought about that yesterday. I was driving and I was thinking about something. I was like, man, I feel like just jumping on a live and asking people what they think. Like, saying, I'm driving. I can't go hang out with my buddies. I can't whatever. Let me get on here and have a conversation with some people. And so, and that's what I do love about it. So, yeah, guys, it's going to be an interesting January next, you know, 2-3-4 weeks. See what happens. I'm, you know, 2 of the better football franchises over the last 15 years in the NFL are going to have new head coaches. The most storied college program in history is going to have a new head coach, and they got to follow up. It's like Shire following up like Coach K and Duke the last couple of years. Like,
oh yeah,
you know, that's tough.
Well, here, let's do this. We can let's wrap up the show with some football talk. Like we've been talking football all day. But I actually wanted to bring this up. First things first, Peacock, you suck. Do you know what Peacock's doing? You know what NBC's doing?
No.
So the Chiefs versus the Dolphins game,
only
available on Peacock.
Oh my gosh.
Unless you live in Miami or you live in Kansas City.
Local,
yeah, you can watch it on a local affiliate. But other than that, like if we want to watch it, we have to subscribe to Peacock.
That's dumb.
That's bull crap. I don't understand this madness
the
about
exclusivity stuff.
Right. Like you could charge more for advertising because our dumbasses are watching the stupid game.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
I mean, if you're going to do that, I would say allow everyone to log into Peacock for free and watch it that day. And maybe you'll get more people to subscribe that way. I don't know.
Yeah, so
unless you live in Olathe.
Yeah, so it's exclusively on that game's exclusively on Peacock. Someone said, well, making all the Swiftie fans pay for it. Would you like my Peacock password and email? I'm good.
Bro.
I'm not really going to watch the game that much.
Bro, can I say something? Did anybody watch the Golden Globes the other day? I didn't, but
oh boy, that guy bombed.
And we're not going to be. Oh yeah, poor Joe Coy. He's our local guy. He's from Spanaway too.
Oh boy.
But when Jim Gaffigan came out.
Oh boy.
Did you guys see that?
Oh yeah.
He said it's a miracle. It's amazing. It just amazes me I'm even in the entertainment industry. And everyone's like kind of claps. He goes, I mean, seriously, I'm just, you know, a guy from a small town. It doesn't make any sense. I'm not a pedophile. It was just, it was great.
Okay, so here's a couple.
Beller, would you like my Peacock password?
So here's a couple of storylines.
Yeah.
You got the Browns against the Texans.
Yeah.
Now think about that.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
Played for the Texans. Now plays for the Browns.
Well, he doesn't do anything for the Browns.
That's true.
He watches.
That's true.
Yeah.
Dolphins and Chiefs. Who's the wide receiver for the Dolphins?
Tyreek Hill.
Yep, going back to the Chiefs.
Lord Tyreek.
That's right. You got the Bills and the Steelers. There's a connection there. I can't remember what it was. But let's be honest. The game of the weekend.
Lions and Rams.
Packers and Cowboys are playing.
Lions and Rams.
Rams and Lions.
I hope the Lions. I almost said something completely inappropriate. I hope the Lions just punch him in the throat, dude.
Yep.
I just hope they punch him right in the throat. I hope Jeff goes off for 450 yards and 6 touchdowns. Like.
So, did you hear about the real estate agent, the promotion he's doing over there in Detroit?
No.
Which Luke and Rory, we're not to that level yet, but he's giving away 1,000 Lions jerseys.
Good job, Dibs.
For anybody who trades in their Matt Stafford jersey.
Wow.
So if you got a Matt Stafford Lions jersey, he will trade you for any other player, current player on the team.
I don't think Lions fans should be mad at Stafford.
No.
I mean,
No, he got traded.
Yeah, traded. And in all honesty, Detroit, Stafford deserved better than what you guys gave him for 10, 12 years. So
And Magruder, you bring up a great point, man. Amazon did the same thing
Yeah.
for Thursday nights. The Chiefs game is going to be a crap show. High of -4 that day here in town. Put all your money on the under. It's going to be miserable to watch. Well, you got a little experience about going to a football game in the coldest place on earth.
yeah, I went to the -6 game in Minnesota where the Hawks went to Minnesota. And honestly, one of the coolest and most fun experiences of my life, that entire trip. It was just a 24-hour. My buddy Jarrett and I, along with a couple other people, hopped on a plane the night before, flew through Vegas, had drinks in Vegas, landed in Minnesota in the morning, slept in the airport for a couple hours and went to the game, and then went back to the airport, hopped on a plane and came back. Some of the funny stories I have came from that trip. And I'll give you a couple of the best. It was so cold. I kid you not. It was so cold that one guy in front of us dropped his beer, alcohol, and the moment the bottle hit the ground and it exploded, the beer froze instantaneously
Holy crap.
to the concrete. And then I saw 6 people get wheeled out for hypothermia. And then, I was so dressed to the nines, and I had the heat warmers in every pocket. The guy in front of me, we were sitting in the middle of a bunch of Vikings fans. I thought I was going to end up on the news at night, as a beating victim. They were all so cool. We had a lot of fun talking crap. But the guy in front of me has this massive beard, and he's so cool. And we're giving each other crap, but kind of having fun. And then he keeps going like this, and you can see his beard. Eventually, it was just frosted over white and hard. And he literally goes like this, and a whole piece of his beard breaks off in his hand. And he looks around and he goes, "My effing beard broke." My effing beard broke. And he goes and puts it in his pocket. And I go, "Dude, what are you putting in your pocket for?" And he goes, I don't know what to do. He goes, "Maybe I'll braid it back in later. I don't know." But yeah, a whole chunk of his beard just snapped off in his hand. It was so cold.
Oh
dude.
my gosh. Maybe I'll braid it in later.
It was crazy, dude. It was crazy. Yeah, it's gonna be cold, man. Dress warm. I've been in those temperatures.
Well, I agree with him on the Amazon thing. I don't like the idea of streaming.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. And the thing is, I got cable for football season because I wanted to watch college football.
Oh.
And basically, I can only watch it on ESPN or ABC. CBS sometimes has games.
Yeah.
But it's so frustrating that your only avenue is to go to these places when they can easily just charge advertisers.
Yeah.
Because you've already got my eyes. That's one thing I don't understand as well. If I listen to the Seahawks game on the internet,
Yeah.
either I can, or if I can't, they'll during a commercial break, the game will be right back. The game will be right back. The game will be right back. I don't understand that. If stream it online and pay and have advertisers pay to. That's what I don't. That's what I understand. Because if you make it available to more people are going to hear it. More people are going to see it. Why wouldn't you?
Advertisers are going to pay more money for the slots. Yeah.
Right, but instead you're going to do the streaming route and just irritate a lot of fans. But
Yeah, I'm in the middle of kind of reassessing my streaming services and how I do things. Because I got rid of cable back in the day, to save money. And I'm like, I'll get streaming services. Well, now you have to have 18 streaming services to watch everything you want to watch. And so,
right, yeah. Well, I can tell you, come February, cable's getting canceled. All the streaming services, except for Amazon, are getting canceled because obviously we got Prime.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm the same way. It's just I'll sacrifice for the football season, but as soon as football's over, cut the cord. And we'll talk about that next week because I found an article that's interesting about that. Okay. But we'll talk about that next week.
We'll get off to sports next week. I just felt like today we had to dedicate to everything that's going on. So
yeah, we had to. All right, everyone.
That's it, man. Hey, if you're a Hawks fan, if you're a Patriots fan, if you're a Tide fan, it's gonna be a fun couple of weeks. So I'll be anxious to see what happens. We might have something to talk about next week by that point. Who knows? But that's it, man. That's a wrap. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for conversating with us. Thanks for making us a part of your day. We appreciate it. Seriously, we say it all the time, but we mean it. We love you guys. You guys are great. You're too good to us just for allowing us to vent and have fun with you. So thanks so much.
All right, you guys, take care of yourselves. Stay out of trouble. If you get caught up in snowpocalypse, wherever you're at this weekend, be safe. And
hey, if you got nothing to do tomorrow night, my amazing daughter is having her senior night at Puyallup High School. Tip-off is at 7. I'd say get there at 6:30. It's going to be a packed house. I haven't really tooted this horn or said anything. She's Puyallup High School. She's the record holder of Puyallup High School, all-time leading rebounder, season, career.
Oh, I did not know this.
She's winding down. She's winded down a pretty amazing run from being a kid who had barely picked up a ball 4 years ago to being the number 1 ranked center in the state and having a college scholarship to play basketball. I'm so proud of her. So if you got nothing to do tomorrow night, I'll buy you a beer, come out to the game and cheer on. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And there's some surprises and some good stuff going on. So
You going to buy us a beer at the game?
dude, I'm bringing them. I don't even care. I'm going to have the beer hat on. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man.
Lots to be proud, bro. Lots
Yeah.
to be proud.
So, all right.
Take care of yourselves. God bless. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.